the fact that this strike is happening is reminding this area of Senate Bill 5, and will that make a difference in November?
I just think that education issues are universal. I think public education is a value that almost everybody in Ohio, except for a few politicians, respects, and I think that crosses party lines. So I don't think it's just about Senate Bill 5. I think it's about, are we really going to support public education or aren't we? And when you see communities like this that are struggling with this, with not even no help from the state, but the state's made the situation worse by taking money out of districts, by always pushing more and more standardized testing and trying to make everything based on standardized testing, I think you get a volatile mix, and it's affecting all kinds of communities. And I don't know how much it'll affect the election, but I wanted to be here to express my support, and I wish them well.
What do you mean by pushing standardized testing? What has come up in the past couple of years that pushes standardized testing?
Well, I mean, almost every session of the legislature, they have increased things like focus on things like OTES and other state requirements and standards. I mean, if you talk to any of these teachers, they can give you a long list of the number of tests they're required to do now than they were a few years ago. And at the same time that they're requiring all the standardized testing, they're not providing the resources to actually allow kids to perform. Third grade guarantee, reading guarantee is a perfect example of it. They impose the requirement, but they don't provide early childhood education. They don't provide small class sizes, which these teachers are fighting for, that could actually get reading scores up. They just say, well, either pass it or else. And it's those kind of ultimatums that I think are dumbing down education.
Do you think what happens here will set a precedent for other school districts, other communities around the state?
I do think there's a lot of eyes on this district right now. And the fact that these teachers are, yeah, they're fighting for their working conditions, but they're also fighting for smaller class sizes, I think really speaks volumes. And that's why I think they have the kind of community support that they do. And so I think in some ways this is kind of a bellwether for these kinds of issues. I wish I could tell you I think it's the last time it's going to happen, but the fact that the state has disinvested hundreds of millions of dollars from our local schools means it's probably, unfortunately, going to happen more frequently than it used to.
Does that make the fight even more intense because all eyes are on Reynoldsburg right now?
Well, I just think that not necessarily, because I think when a teacher or a family, a parent, a child is going through this, they're not really concerned about how it's going to affect other districts. They're looking at their own children and what kind of education their children are going to get. So for the folks that are dealing with this issue here, that's what's first and foremost, and that's who we're thinking about.